Concept 13.2 describes the incredible array of adaptations that have evolved in order to avoid being eaten and to find food. This is a very powerful selective pressure because, after all, you cannot leave your genes to the next generation if you are starving or eaten. You might wonder why I'm standing in front of this bunch of old leaves. Well, there's a reason. If you look closely, you might see the special one. It's this one. And it's one of the many fascinating adaptations that have evolved. This presentation will show you more. Some might be familiar and some might be really unexpected. It's clever, isn't it? Which bird in their right mind would want to eat an old leaf? Here's an overview of the adaptations to avoid being eaten. There are structural defenses, chemical defenses, warning coloration, mimicry, and behavior. Physical defenses include large size. Adult healthy elephants, for example, have no predators except for humans. But being big comes at a price of having to eat a lot, and that is not in the reach of everyone. So one of the most prevalent physical defenses is to evolve a body that can run away. In addition to running at incredible high speeds, Thomson's gazelles, for example, also use a bounding leap to avoid predators. And many other animals, such as deer and hares, can rapidly turn while running and thus avoid predation. The predator just runs straight forward. We might not immediately think of insects as prey, but some of the most formidable defense adaptations are found in insects. Take the cockroach, for example. It has receptor hairs on its feet that can detect changes in air pressure, such as emitted by an approaching foot, and a special nervous system that allows them to react within 50 milliseconds. I found a test on the internet. My reaction times is 447 milliseconds I have. Flies can be even faster. Their reaction time is between 30 to 50 milliseconds. A third type of physical defense is a body armor, as seen here in the sea urchins, the armadillos, and scallops. We also find these armors in plants. Think of the spines of cacti and blackberries. Many leaves are hairy. Think of how that would feel in the mouth of an insect. Or consider using little glass shards for defense. This is what horsetails have evolved. They contain silica, which gives them a gritty, unpleasant texture. So moving on to chemical defenses, we have already talked about the powerful poison in rough-skinned newts, and you're probably familiar with poison dart frogs. There are about 100,000 poisonous substances identified, mostly in plants, as a defense. We have derived many drugs from substances that other organisms use to defend themselves. Just think of tobacco or aspirin derived from the bark of willow trees, or the opium derived from poppies. A third category of adaptations is warning coloration. Many of the toxic species are brightly colored, such as this nudibranch, or conspicuously striped, such as this yellow-banded poison dart frog, or this wasp, or this fire salamander. It is interesting that the same color patterns have evolved in only distantly related species. So what that means is they evolved the same color pattern independently, just because it worked. Snakes, and even in the lovely ladybug, which can secrete a foul-tasting fluid from their leg joints when attacked. This warning coloration makes it easy for the predators to see them. Scientists believe that the bright coloration has evolved to help the predator, often birds, remember that the species is poisonous. For example, if a bird eats a poisonous butterfly or frog, it will get very sick. In some cases, the poison is released so quickly that the bird will spit the prey out and avoid swallowing it. In either case, it is probably easier for the bird to remember to avoid this species in the future if the prey is distinctly colored. Experiments have shown that it often takes only a single encounter with a toxic prey species for a predator to learn to avoid it. Warning coloration is sometimes referred to as aposematic coloration, and it is found in a wide variety of animals, including insects, mites, spiders, and frogs. Here's a clever combination of warning coloration and our next topic, mimicry. Many butterflies have prominent eye spots that scare predators to think that a big animal is behind these big eyes. The fourth category is mimicry, the imitation of someone else, and it comes in three flavors: crypsis, or better known as camouflage, Batesian mimicry, and Mullerian mimicry. So first, camouflage.
Number 13, the southern rock agama lizard. Found mostly in South Africa, this species of lizard is known for its ability to blend into the surrounding rocks. Number 12, the leafy sea dragon. Closely related to seahorses, the leafy sea dragon can be found up and down the coast of Australia and is well known for the long leaf-like protrusions it uses for camouflage. Number 11, pygmy seahorse. As a result of its small size and extreme level of camouflage, this species of seahorse wasn't discovered until the coral upon which it resides was closely examined in a laboratory. Number 10, the right-eyed flounder. Because they always lie on the ocean floor on their left side, this species of flounder has both eyes on its right side, hence the name. Cuttlefish. Despite the name, this really isn't a fish, it's a mollusk, and a very well-hidden one at that. Besides their insane camouflage skills, they're also considered to be one of the most intelligent invertebrates with a very high brain-to-body mass ratio. Number 6, the leaf katydid. Although we already saw katydid at number 16, there are over 6,400 species, and almost all of them are extremely good at blending into their environment.
Such as these stone plants. Batesian mimicry is when a harmless species mimics an unpalatable or toxic species. Examples are the scarlet king snake, which is not venomous, mimicking the venomous eastern coral snake, and the hawk moth larva mimicking the green parrot snake. The word mimicking sounds as if there's intent and agency, but remember how evolution works. Once upon a time, in all the diverse hawk moth larvae, there was one that looked a tad more like a poisonous snake than the others, and so it was avoided and could leave more offspring that, after many generations, had a mutation that made it look even more like a poisonous snake, and so the story went on and on. Mullerian mimicry is when two or more unpalatable or toxic species mimic each other, as seen here with bees and yellow jackets, or here in these Appalachian millipedes, all of different species. The advantage in both instances is that predators learn faster to avoid species with these warning colorations. There's also mimicry in plants. Here is a mimosa playing dead upon being touched. And there are plants that mimic the objects of sexual desires of certain wasps. The orchid has the same color pattern and fuzziness as the female wasp. The male wasp emerges a bit earlier than females, and in the quest to mate, they mistake the orchids for females. This is actually not to avoid being eaten, but to attract pollinators. But it's mimicking nonetheless. Now we turn to behavior. As the book notes, some species change their behavior to avoid predation. For example, when predators are abundant, snowshoe hares forage less in open areas where they are more vulnerable to attacks. When threatened, musk oxen form a defensive circle. Or think of playing possum. Many animals pretend to be dead when attacked, as most predators do not eat carrion. Then, of course, there is pretending to be bigger and stronger, the puffing up that you see in pufferfish and in the raised hair of many mammals. So you might know that we have a relic of that, our goosebumps. When we are startled or frightened, we raise our hairs. It's just that usually we don't impress anyone with that. Is there behavior in plants? Here you see the same example I used for mimicry. Is that mimicry or is it behavior? That's what I love about biology, more questions than answers. Other examples include plants that emit warning signals to their neighbors to alert them to an herbivore attack, special signals to beneficial insects that might rid them of pests, and plant veins under such pressure that they drown insect in a squirt of fluid when chewed.